Hello, Pst class. This is your teacher, Miss Reller speaking. I am going to be going through some homework help problems here. These videos are going to be posted throughout the year on our Google Classroom site, and I'm going to try to do them as much as possible, but mostly when I feel that the section may be difficult or where you seem to be struggling, we need to take some extra time, or I just get the vibe that we will need the extra help outside of the classroom. So those types of sections will be when I post these, and you can look at them during class with permission, as well as outside of class anytime you want, and it'll be a way to have me there with you without actually me being there. So it's really helpful, I think, for you to be able to get some practice and to get some help. And these problems are also in your homework or very similar to your homework, so it'll only benefit you to follow along. So this is 8.1. I'm doing this just so you can get the feel of how it will go and what it will look like. So we have 8.1 here. So we're talking about different types of variations and inverse variation and direct variation and joint variation. So the first set of problems are asking you what type of variation is given. So if you remember back to class, we talked about how to set it up. And the first one we can see we have x times y equals 1/6. So looking at this, you might think, hey, this is a direct variation. Well, no, because we need to have y by itself on the left side. Okay, so, well, how do we get that over there? We know for algebra that we must divide by x. So we'll go ahead and do that. Divide by x, divide by x. So what we have essentially is 1/6 divided by x. And to make this look a little better, we have 0.166 repeating, because that's what 1 divided by 6 is, and that's divided by x. Okay? And that equals our y. So we have a constant, even though it's a fraction, it's still a constant, 0.166666 divided by x equal to y. So we know it's an inverse variation because we are dividing by our x. Next up, we have y equals x plus 5. Well, are we dividing by x? Are we multiplying by x? No, we're adding, so this doesn't really fall into what we're learning, so this would be none or neither variation. Last, we have y divided by x equals 10. So we need to get y by itself again. So this time we're going to multiply by our x. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. It's really hard to do this on my computer, but I'm doing my best. And so that leaves us with y equals to 10 times x. So we're multiplying by our x here, and we have a constant, and that would be our direct variation. So you kind of get a little of each here. Next up, we're going to write out an equation ourselves now using x, y, and z, and given that z varies jointly with x and y. So jointly, if you remember, that means that we are going to have, I'm going to try to write this small here, z equal to our constant times x, y. So that's our joint variation. So we're going to first do that part, and then we'll get to that second part there. So we have x is equal to, we'll just plug it in what we have here, actually. So we have, z is equal to 24. And then we have our a, which we don't know. We're going to figure that out here, times our x and times our y. So if we go ahead and figure this out, what's 2 times negative 6? That would be negative 12a. So how can we get from negative 12, what can we multiply negative 12 by to get 24? Well, 2 times 12 is 24, but we have a negative, so our a would have to be -2. So that's kind of cool how we can just pull that apart and figure it out. So our joint variation would be z equal to -2, because we found out what a was up here, times our xy. So that's that. So that would be our answer. And the second part, oops, sorry guys. Second part here says, then we need to find z here. Where's my tool? Find z when x equals -4 and y equals 5. So all you have to do is go ahead and plug in -4 and 5 here. So -4 and 5, and see what we get. So let's just go ahead and do that. Z equals -2 times our -4. Again, I'm sorry for the handwriting. Times our 5. So -2 times -4 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. So that's the second part. Just plugging it in. So that's all you gotta do. Just plug in what you know and simplify it down and see how you can get from one to the next and find your a. That's the most important part. Our coefficient there, our constant. Last problem that you're going to see in your homework is these tables. And this just requires some playing around. All you have to do is tell me whether x and y is a joint variation, or, if it's a direct or inverse variation. So, and you can do this by kind of just playing it around, and maybe it doesn't work. It can be neither. So all you got to do is see how we get from one number to the next, because we know that our variations kind of work like this. Our coefficient out front. So we start with x. So let's do this here. Our x is 5, starting off with. And our y is 15. What is our a? How do we get from 5 to 15? What can we multiply by? Well, I think of 3, right? 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so how would we get, let's try the next one. From 6 to 18. What would we multiply 6 by? Well, 6 times 3 is 18. Can we do this for all of them? Is 7 times 3 21? Yes. Is 8 times 3 24? Yes. So we're not dividing or anything. We're just multiplying here. There's no division going on. Okay? To get from here to here. So we have a direct variation. We are multiplying our x's times our constants. And we're getting our y's, and it works. And the reason we know this works is because each one is going to have 3 out in front. If these turn out to be different numbers, that does not work out. So it has to be 5 times 3, 6 times 3. It can't be 5 times 3, 6 times 2. It has to be 3 throughout for this specific problem. It always has to be the same a. Always. So good luck with your homework. Let me know if you have any questions. Bear with me on these videos. My handwriting is bad. I'll probably mess up, but that's why we work together through these problems, and I'm working through them just as much as you are. So let me know, and enjoy math.